Thanks for stopping by. I'd like to preface this video by saying it is not a knitting tutorial, but it means to have something playing in the background while you work on your own knitting project. If you're like me and really enjoy watching videos while you work, sometimes you find that the content you like to watch is very visually engaging and you're several hours in and haven't gotten nearly as far along in your project as you would have liked to. So that's where I come in. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. This episode on my channel is going to be a continuation of one that I shot not too long ago, which is the project that I want to do for my cats. My goal is to make a big blanket that will be felted by throwing it in the wash a few times to get it to shrink down and get all nice and fuzzy and firm so that they have a nice mat to lay on, either be it while they're on their favorite chair or in their carrier or on the couch. We'll see what the final size looks like, but if it's as small as a carrier mat, that's fine. If it's big enough to put on the chair, even better. And if it can fit on the couch where they like to lay a lot, even better, even better than the chair size. So we'll see. I haven't done any measuring to see what it would shrink down to. I'm just winging it, but I have a lot of this loppy yarn that I have wound up into cake that I don't like. It's too itchy for me. It was given to me by a friend and coworker who also didn't have anything to do with it. And it was funny because she got it from a coworker of ours who used to work at our job, and she gave it to her, she gave it to me, and now I have it and I don't want it either. Kind of like the Lion Brand homespun yarn that I have that I made a hat and a scarf for a friend, but I just don't like to knit with it. This is particularly rough to me. I mean, it'd probably make an awesome sweater, but you'd need to wear like a long sleeve, probably a thick one underneath it because it's scratchy and you don't want it to poke you or anything like that. And I'm knitting this with these awful, dreaded, I don't like bamboo needles either because they're sticky, and this yarn is kind of sticky on top of sticky needles, so it's hard to kind of push everything around. But this was, I bought a whole set of circular needles on Amazon when I was just starting out, just to get a feel for circulars because I needed them for something, and doing one project with them I was like, nope. So I started going with metal and plastic and laminated wood, and I prefer those all way more than just bamboo. But I think if you were a loose knitter, this would be great because then your needles would help your stitches stay on better. But I personally like to just slide everything right on through. But I kept the set because I just didn't know what to do with it, and turns out I wanted to knit like a pretty loose gauge for this yarn and grabbed one of the larger sizes in the set. So I think this is a 15, or no, US size 13. And I have some singles that I think are, it's not singles. I have some straight needles that I think are a 15, but they're not long enough for this. So I had to bust out my circulars, and instead of spending a lot more money just for this one project, that's kind of like a fun little thing to do, I figured I'd use the ones I already had. So I hope wherever you are, whatever the day of the week this is that you see this, I hope you're having a very good day. It's Saturday it's Saturday evening. It's like 4:30. Hoping to do this video, have some dinner, and then continue on with some more content to have ready to go for this week. It's just been a day. I was knitting earlier at my desk, and Kabu and Koji decided to spend several hours with me intermittently. Koji started out the morning cuddling, and then he jumped down, and then Kabu came, and yeah, the patch is dry. She loves to nestle her her head in the crook of my arm and knead, and then she'll drool and stuff. So sometimes I end up a little crusty with cat slobber on me. And so I try to go knitting again, and I'm working on my Bold Baby blanket, and it's light in color. So anytime they come over, I get like transfer fur on it, and I'm like, oh, of course I'm working on the lightest color. I can't really knit and cuddle them at the same time, because then it's draped on them or they're laying on it, and it's just getting cat fur everywhere. And I'm like, this, if it was for me, it'd be one thing, but it's not for me. It's for people who don't even have pets, and they're dog people on top of that. So I don't think they'd appreciate my cat's fur on their brand new babies blankets. So I gotta nick that. So just gonna work on this now, which is fine. I can also work on my little baby kitty cats that I'm making for some of my coworkers, but that gets a little cumbersome because I'm working on DPNs and little teeny pattern. So I had to really be careful of what I do so I don't drop any stitches or slip any off my needles, and keep track of where I am in the patterns. So. And it's so funny, I just finished filming another video, and I was kind of tidying up the project, and my partner's like, are you still filming? I'm like, well, I just started. And he's like, oh, I need to work out. And I'm like, well, you had all day. So hey, I think we need to have like a we have to have like a bulletin board on the door outside with a calendar of like who gets the room, what day, what time, because this is getting crazy. Like every time I'm like, okay, they're busy playing video games, they're obviously not trying to work out right now. As soon as I come up here, they're like, I want to work out right now. I'm like, ugh. But then I guess the same could be for me, where I had all morning where I could have been in here, and I didn't until just now. So I guess we're both at fault, but I'm not going to tell them that. It's going to be theirs. It's going to be their fault. But yes. But yeah, yesterday, Friday, I had a happy hour evening with couple friends of mine, and it was just so nice. Like, of course it wasn't the same, but it was actually the first time that the three of us got together. I had hung out with both of my friends separately before, but we haven't hung out in person ever together, and so it was kind of weird to be like, here's our first time all hanging out. But it was really fun. Sad because of the situation, but fun anyway, and we're really hoping to get together in person. So that's kind of like what we're looking forward to. It's like, yeah, we really clicked as a trio trying this out. So it could be just as fun in person, even better maybe. And we all live in like way different parts of the state, but we could probably meet somewhere in the middle at some point for dinner, or catch a movie, or, you know, when we can get some fresh air without being worried about other people, maybe go to the park or something like that. So, which reminds me, is like, I have a lot of friends that I haven't really been, I mean, we checked in with each other kind of at the beginning of this whole thing, but as far as like consistently checking in with each other, we haven't been. And a couple of them I actually really am curious about what they're doing now, based on, you know, what their jobs are, how they're doing, because at first it started out where, at least like at my job, where a lot of people were just doing their thing, either working from home or doing some training modules and stuff just to stay busy and stay on payroll. Like, well, maybe you're not doing your normal job, but here's some other stuff that you can do while you're not in person. And then later they changed their mind and said, you know, we really need to save money, and people who are having to transition into other stuff and can't keep up with their normal work in a home setting have to be furloughed. So we my job furloughed 23 people, and I found out that there's a third person I know who I'm not like super, super close with them, but I know them well enough that we talk online every now and then, and we're like friends on social media. And, it's sad. They haven't said anything online, which I think, is their business. They're not going to spread it around or anything if they don't feel comfortable. But I know where they live, so I want to send them some well wishes with the kitty cats that I'm making. Because my other coworker, who I found out was furloughed, I know she'll really appreciate the kitty cats. So I think this other person will too, because she actually saw them before. I posted a picture and she asked me about the pattern, and I told her, oh yeah, Mochi Mochi Land's pretty awesome. You should check them out. But I think now that she knows about those cats, she'll appreciate the gift as well. So now I'm like gonna crank out a bunch of little kitty cats this week and drop them off at the post office. But I'm thinking I'm gonna have, so I've only done one body so far because I was knitting between breaks at my job, and I was like, okay, these do take quite a bit of time, like per cat. So what I'm going to do is do them in stages. So kind of like assembly line style, where instead of finishing each one start to finish at once, I'm going to start each, I'm going to work up to the same point in the pattern per cat. So I finished one where I just made the body. So I have another one that I already cast on at that same time. So I'll finish that body, sew it up, or tie it up at the end. So then I'll just have like these two little potatoes. Like the little body parts of the cats themselves look like the best cat toy ever. And I'm so like, okay, after I do these cats for my coworkers, I'm going to just make balls and stuff them with like this is kind of fuzzy. Stuff them with catnip, so my cats can actually have some new toys to play with. I'm like, I could just make cat toys for like forever. Cat toys with well, first I gotta try it out, make sure my cats are cool with them, and then maybe that'll just be my thing. Like, I'll sell cat toys for my side gig or whatever. But I mean, as many people as who I know who can make cat toys, is like, I'm no special person. Like, mine aren't gonna be like some bougie boutique kind of cat toys, but when we do our silent auction at my job again, it'd be so fun to have like something else to contribute this time besides the little cat chair feet that I had last year. It was like, cat toys for your cat, homemade. Aren't they awesome? So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, so now I'm like thinking ahead on all that stuff too. But yeah, so I have my assembly line. I'm going to make my potatoes, and then I will do the faces. And then when the faces and ears are done, then I can do the legs, and then add the tail, and then that'll be it. So it's like tail, 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 face, 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 legs, 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 all that stuff. And they'll all be all in a row, so each one is done at the same time. So I think that'll make it easier for me, because I'm going to do as many as I can per person. I want to do like maybe like 4 per person. We'll see. I'll just make a whole bunch, and then when my fingers fall off, then that'll be how I divide them all up. Because at least I have my supervisor I want to do, my friend who gave me a lot of knitting stuff, another coworker who knows I like cats and knows I knit and stuff, the one who's furloughed, the other one who's furloughed. So that's 5 people. If I do 4 cats, that's 20 cats each. So it's quite a bit, but I do have a lot of leftover yarn, and I have a lot of this Caron 1 pound that I knit for, or that I used for another project. It's worsted weight, but the size doesn't matter so much. It's more so like making sure your needle size is smaller than the yarn weight so that you get a nice tight stitch so you can stuff it and it holds its shape pretty well. So I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about busting some of this yarn stash I have. But I don't think I'll go any larger than the worsted weight for this project. Goodness, can you guys hear that? You guys probably can hear that. If I can hear it as loud as I can. It sounds like they're right underneath me. I don't know. But anywho, yes, so that is my feel-good project for the week, busting out a lot of kitty cats. Hopefully I can show you all when they're done, and I'll likely have it posted to my Instagram if I can. I haven't been adding too much there lately, just because I haven't been knitting much new. And then, you know, I have all my kitties, my kitty cat photos, of course, which love that. I was thinking like, oh, what new photos can I add? But I hadn't taken any that were super recent. So yes, this is like because there's so much bunched on this one circular needle, it feels like this project's gonna take a long time. And if I run out of the loopy yarn, I have some Wool and the Gang that is super bulky, that is purple, but it's not like the same, it's not the same texture, but it's just wool. And I bought it when I very first started out knitting, and it's funny because I bought brown and purple, and I was given brown and purple yarn, but I made a scarf out of the brown just to practice knitting. Thought I made some cool pattern, and it really isn't all that fancy. And I had the purple yarn, and I hadn't knit anything with it yet, but I just bought it to get my minimum shipping that I needed to get the stuff here. And so it's been sitting in my my bin for a while, and I'm like, oh, well, if I end up running out of this, I could totally add that, because once it's all felted, granted the Wool and the Gang yarn is way softer than this, you might not know. Well, cats won't know. They'll just think it's a nice new thing to roll around on. And maybe eventually, once it's been felted enough times and their fur's on it when I wash it, it'll all become like one giant cat fur wool hybrid thing. Like a Franken mat. But yes, I'm excited, because this is just easy. This is just knitting, garter stitch. It's going to be felted. There's nothing like, there's no fancy stitch pattern or anything to this one. It's mainly for the surface area of it than it is like any kind of design. And I'm just throwing those colors. I'm alternating the purple and the brown. So like once I finish this cake, I'm going to use the purple, and then once I finish that, I'll go back to the brown. So it's not like any fancy pattern or anything either, but just to get the surface of the fabric. So let me know in the comments, has there ever been a project kind of like this that you worked on, where it's not so much the design, but it's like the like the mass of it that you were concerned about? Have you ever just knit a garter stitch blanket? Just a plain, solid color garter stitch blanket. You know, you just need it for the warmth. You don't really care so much if it has like a fancy design. You just want it to cover your bed. Have you ever been in that mode where I'm just gonna knit one big square, and it doesn't matter what it is as long as it covers the object I need it to. I was thinking not so much about the garter stitch itself, but for my own homeware projects, like I've been knitting, besides, well, not lying, but I'm not, like, I guess I'm bending the truth a bit, because I'm like, oh, the cardigan that I'm working on is really the only project that I've made for myself, besides, like, the little kitty cats I did from the Mochi Mochi Land pattern, and this, which is going to be for my cats. So it's not really for me, per se, but as far as, like, big, cool projects, really just the cardigan, and I'm not even done with that. Not even close. And everything else has always been a gift. But as far as myself, like my own homewares, I was thinking, like, what, besides the throw pillows that I want to do with, there are some throw pillows I want to make with a lot of the polyfill I have, but other than that, there's nothing really on my mind. And I love blankets. Like, handmade blanket is really cool. I've seen so many cool patterns. I'm gonna make one for my friend, and that kind of thing seems nice, but do I have the patience to make something cool like that for myself? And that's what I don't know, because I could probably do garter stitch blanket, just one big beautiful teal garter stitch blanket, and call it good. But at the same time, it's like, if I'm going to be knitting this, I'm probably going to get bored, because I even got bored with the garter stitch Meadow Lane blanket that I made for my partner's mom and dad, and that was garter stitch, but you alternated your knits and your purls on each side so that you had these little ridges, because it was like meadows, hills, and valleys and hills kind of a thing, and that was the inspiration for that pattern. So it was still garter stitch, but it was like garter stitch with a twist, but it was such a subtle twist. I was just like, man. And I didn't even make it like Afghan size. It was like a little bigger than a lap blanket. It's kind of like a cross between a lap blanket and a throw. And that was just because I didn't know what I was doing and bought a lot of yarn and didn't think about, like, my size per se. I just cast on, whatever I felt like, as long as it matched the cast on multiples that I needed for the pattern. So it's like that. Okay. I don't know. I also thought, it'd be cool to have, like, all kinds of blankets on display. There was this, it might have been a house I was looking at, or like a condo, and I saw it in the staging that they had for the living room, or it was like in a home magazine or an ad or something online. I can't remember where it was, but I saw this living room, and it had a ladder shelf, like literally just a regular wooden rung ladder leaning on the wall, and it was like a blanket rack. Like, in their living room they had a rack of blankets, and each rung had a blanket draped over it, and it was relatively wide, so it was more like decorative. It wasn't like a real ladder, but it was like yay wide, and a bunch of throws laid over each rung, and it was leaning on the wall, so they weren't like touching each other, but they're kind of like draped. And I'm like, that is an awesome idea. I would love to have the room for something like that. Our living room we can make it work, but I know it would get knocked over because the cats love to run around down there. So if we had a bigger space, I would be able to hang it up, and they hopefully wouldn't need to run that close to the wall to perhaps knock it over. But I thought that'd be a cool like DIY kind of project, like go to Habitat for Humanity, find a ladder or some scrap or something like that and make my own, probably for a lot cheaper than buying a fancy rustic looking thing. So, and then painting it teal, of course, because why would I want it to be rustic and brown? I mean, it looked cool with the room, but that's not my color. It's all about the teals. Oh, this is taking a long time. Man, I wish, I'm like, the more I'm knitting this, the more I'm like, I should just buy some metal circulars. But I'm like, this is just one project. When am I ever going, if I need them again, maybe. But this is just like a fun little project. Like, I shouldn't be stressing out this much over how grippy these bamboo needles are. And they're smooth, you know, but they're bamboo, so they're kind of like sticky. Like the material is sticky. I'm like, man, it's slowing me down. Then I have to push everything because the cord itself is like a straw, almost like a plastic thing, and it reminds me of the plastic tube that you would put in like a fish tank filter or something. It's something like that. So it's also very grippy. So it's just sticking everywhere, and I'm trying to like not knit very tight so that I can slide them easier, but I keep falling into the habit of like pulling the yarn a little bit tight when I mean to keep a loose hold on it. And just let it kind of drape over the needle and not pull it too hard when I'm carrying it over, just to keep it so it has a little bit of give. And then the yarn is like fuzzy, so it's sticking to me. But yes, blankets overall are a big feat. But I wonder, what did the pioneers do when they were making blankets? Like, when was the circular needle invented as a wrist saver and a space accommodator for knitting? Like, when did that happen? We're not gonna make it, guys. I am not that fast. I cannot get through this before the end of the video, so I'll keep knitting, but I'll talk to you too, to kind of kill two birds. So yeah, I would just like to say thanks so much for continuing to tune in every day when I upload. I'm hoping that like when things get back to normal, I'll still be able to dedicate, instead of one video in a day, where I would usually, my standard would be like either Friday when I got home from work or Saturday, maybe even Sunday, depending. Usually Saturday though, I would try to film early in the morning one video, have it uploaded at least by Sunday, maybe even Monday, depending on how the night was going, and that would be my video for the week. But I'm like, if I can crank out, you know, 4 or 5 videos in one day, who's to say I can't just keep doing that forever? However, you know, once things pick up again at my job and when I'm back there in person, I might have to be doing like I usually do, where I am spending my weekends at my job to help train and all that stuff. Everything's kind of up in the air now, and like, how are we going to go forward with when everything's kind of calmed down, if it does, whenever it does? Of course, a minute and 44 seconds goes faster than I thought. But yeah, so you know, all of that just does account for how much time I can spend doing things. And of course, when I'm back to quote unquote normal, my weekends have a lot more packed into them because I don't have all of that time in the day to like wash dishes and do laundry while I'm in a Zoom meeting, or not at the same time, but like put some laundry in, attend the Zoom meeting, take it out when it's done, and just be home to do stuff at the same time when I usually have to scramble to do it when I get home from work. So all that kind of figures in, but I think I will do my best to continue to have uploads during the week, Monday through Friday, and then do my weekend stuff and try to knock out a few videos on like Saturday and Sunday and have them at least ready to go for the following week. Can't make any promises, but it does sound pretty darn good to me right now. So we are not even quite at the end. It's somewhere over here. You can see it's all craziness, but that's pretty much all we can do for this moment in time. I'm gonna have some grub and we'll catch you in the next video. So thanks so much again for watching, for participating in any of the comments that I have made and questions that I have asked you, and it's been a good time. So I'll see you next time. Bye.